talking about leadership, I'm born into it, I would say. It's part of my culture, it's part of my backbone. One of the key words that maybe distinguish a little bit Nordic leadership compared to what I have seen in the Baltic, of course we have a much more flatter organization. I think we have much more consensus-oriented or collaboration way of working. I think we believe much more in the pull strategy than a push strategy, and not that much driven by short-term profit. I think we have a more long-term view on what we are doing. You know, I'm not the person who is really reading so kind of many books or have that many people I'm really looking up to. If to mention one, I think it's probably Marit Breivik. He used to be the coach for the Norwegian handball team. For me, is really a proof of how to really build a strong team to really achieve fantastic results by being very clear what she wants to achieve, but also how she involved the team in that kind of preparation to really make that strong team. And she made fantastic results with that team for 15 years. But other than that, I think it's my dad actually. He learned me something in life when it's come to how to work, how to be really part of a team. It's not only about you, it's about the totality. But I hate him for a lot of other things. I mean, parents are kind of hate and love. What is interesting, and I think that's, we may come back a little bit also to Nordic leadership and Baltic leadership. But what is really the main difference today also is that you definitely need much more extreme competences. You cannot only have generalists in this play. I'm more a generalist, I must admit. But that means that I really need to have a team with people who is double as competent as I am, right? And I think this is also a challenge of leadership today, that you need to be a good coach for a team of people who are much more specialist in different fields. And so the leadership is more how to put them together somehow. And then I'm coming back a little bit to being inspired by more team sport. I'm a team player myself. I played soccer, I played handball, I have been all this kind of team sports. And you can have 11 good soccer players, right? I mean, if they are not able to play together, you are not winning anything. How do you normally connect to people? I mean, you take a drink in the bar or what? But I think the easiest answer to that question is that, I mean, you talk to people, right? I mean, how to connect to people, please talk to them. I put a lot of effort actually to be around, to talk to all people, to really tell people and this organization about who I am and what I want to achieve. And I don't think they have seen their CEO out there ever, right? If you look at leadership in general today, of course, there are really big differences between Lithuania and Norway or the Nordic. But I think we are aiming for the same. I can see that there is a new generation leaders coming into play in Lithuania as well, who is more representing an international way of thinking. But still, I would say it's a long way to go. I still see that there is still a too much hierarchical way of thinking. I think there are still too many leaders who should never have been leaders. There is a much more power game. People enjoy being in power, being dominant to other people. So I think this real willingness to really break down that hierarchy. You know, I try to remind myself that I'm also an employee of the bank, right? So I have a different role. Okay, I'm a CEO, so I'm playing my role. But I'm not able to do anything without my team, so to speak. I would also say that this true leader and this kind of true leadership, and then maybe back to education. I mean, you can read and you can try to learn, and you can learn from others, you can look at others, but you cannot run away from yourself, right? I'm a strong believer in authentic leadership, actually, because you always have to be yourself. Right? So you have to bring all those ideas, but you have to make it your story, and you have to do it your way, so to speak. And here, I'm not sure if Lithuanians today, at least, it's really into the backbones. It's not really into the deep other values that this is the way we are leading. How to make the vision clear to each level and throughout the organization. Of course, that's a I would say timely process, and it takes really time. You know, I made a strategy 5 years ago, I put it in one page. And I said that I don't want to have a long strategy document because no one is reading, no one is kind of looking into it. So I created one page. I took my team around, traveling all Lithuania, and I do that every year actually with my management team in order for us to echo the same message for our people to see that we are a team. Because if you want people to cooperate, actually the first you have to start with yourself and your team. And if that doesn't work, people will see it. It has been important for me also to make sure that I'm meeting the front line, the lowest level of the organization, that they hear it from me. So I have tried to do a process from top down and also from bottom up. And I still believe that there are something in between here, that either they will survive or they will be squeezed out somehow. Because the challenge with an organization like ours, a big organization, is that you have this, we call it in Norway, this glava level or this isolation level of leaders who is not willing to change. They are stopping things on the way down, and they are definitely also stopping things on the way up. So the way of getting around that is actually that I have invested quite a lot of time actually to repeat. I mean, to implement strategies is quite boring, honestly. It's more cool to make it, but to implement it is just a repetitive exercise. You have to continue and continue and continue and continue. And finally you will get there. One of my most important KPI is actually leadership, communication and engagement. And we are measuring that actually every month, how people are scoring engagement and leadership communication. So of course, to get people engaged, to get people involved, then you have to be out there. Right. So I think too many leaders are believing that they can just sit in their big offices and just give an order and it will work. No, it does not work. So you really have to involve yourself into that process. You know, people will say that I'm a typical all-in leader. So either you do it or you don't. And if you do it, you have to do it 100%. So I think if you don't really have passion for what you're doing, if you don't believe yourself in what you're doing, then forget it. And people can feel that and can see that. So at least that's where, again, I'm back to authentic leadership. I mean, to really be passionate, you cannot play that game. I mean, you have to be it, right? And you have to live it. No, I don't think there is any choice. I mean, you can be good leaders and really lead through others. But if you really want to get followers, if you really want to pull, more than push. I mean, you can always push and threaten, and you can use money and force people to run. But if you really want to make a sustainable organization, I think that's at least what I believe in, though. So yeah, I'm a very emotional, energetic leader in that sense. Leadership without emotions it's for me no leadership in that sense. So you have to put a big portion of yourself. You have to give more of yourself. And what is interesting also in leadership, talking about emotion, is that you are getting what you are giving, so to speak, or you are getting more than you are giving. And if you are not giving anything, you are not getting anything back, for sure. Like in life in general. You know. What I believe when it comes to future leadership, it's more, again, people who has change capabilities. People are more able to see and listen more than talking. I think our human beings are actually have two ears and just one mouth. Back to Nordic leadership, I think you even more in the future need those guys and ladies who is able to listen, to have those kind of experts together and build a strong team, listen to them, able to put that complexity together, and then here we go. And an extreme ability to change based on changes in the environment. Well, Nordic leadership sometimes is said to be too soft, but I think we are quite tough after all. We just have a different way of reaching results. But I understand your question, and of course Nordic leadership too much based on consensus and a more democratic way of solving, of course sometimes are challenged because you need to take decisions. And even in the Nordic leadership you need to take decisions at some point in time to get moving. But of course there is a balance there, right? I will still claim that even if it's difficult times, I think it's even more important actually to listen. I mean, to take that time to really understand what's going on. and not jump too much into to decision. And here again we are a little bit back to those differences we talked about when it comes to Nordic leadership and Lithuanian leadership, because Lithuanians are extremely decision oriented and are jumping, I would say, too fast into decision. You can say that Norwegians and Scandinavians sometimes are too much in that process and are not really coming to the end. But that combination is also quite interesting, to combine the Nordic and the Baltic kind of leadership. But I will still claim that even in difficult times, I think you will gain from guys. I mean, let's stop up 5 minutes, just think and reflect a little bit what's kind of happening, and not be so keen to show that you are very decisive and you are strong and you want to take decision. I don't believe in that kind of leadership.